Hey, I'm Abner.
I'm Amanda. We are Johnnyswim.
And you are watching Toasted.
Welcome to Amsterdam.
Thank
you
We're
so
happy to
much.
be here.
You've been busy, right? I mean, you arrived yesterday. I heard a radio session and stuff. Lots of press.
Yeah. We flew in, had some interviews, and then went out to I guess Radio 2.
Yeah.
Radio 2, and did the late night road show, and so we're out there until after midnight. So we're like rock stars.
We're rebels, staying up late.
But then we're up very early with our toddler. So yeah.
You guys have a new album out, Georgia Pond. Beautiful stuff. 14 tracks, which is actually a lot, I think.
Yeah, thank you. It's fun. One of them is a 30-second intro, so that one kind of doesn't count. And
That's
then
my first question. Why the intro? And why does it evolve into Hummingbird and not into Georgia Pond?
My favorite albums back in the day were always the ones that had intros or interludes or some kind of welcoming piece that wasn't just the song right out the gate. So that what we wanted to do with that track was invite you to listen to the whole album from beginning to end. We wanted to create it like an album, like albums used to be made on vinyl, where it was truly a listening experience, A side, B side. And hopefully it's done that. It's invited you to, okay, let me listen to these 30 seconds and see where it's going. And
I was wondering, where does it come from? I mean, it's a soundscape, but is it like something you recorded per accident, or?
Yeah, it's just me in front of the. I came up with the melody, ooh, whatever.
Spooky, though.
Yeah, very, very. And I love that Hummingbird's in A minor, and I love the kind of the sadness of the minor key and all that. And so I wanted, I was playing off of that chord.
I was prepared to listen to a very romantic album with a lot of summer good feeling vibes, but I was far from it.
Yeah, man, and there's some summertime romance, and In My Arms are very lovey-dovey songs. But it's funny, man and I, some of the funnest things for us to write are breakup songs or sad songs or intense narratives, if you will. Like a Hummingbird is essentially a song about understanding, and we wrote it about. We almost always use some form of personal reference, whether it's our own life or lives near us. So the Hummingbird is about a relationship that maybe is just better off not existing. Oops. Yeah. Like
Or
this
just when somebody wants you to be something you're not, and you have to kind of realize, like, I'm putting a lot of work into being something that I'm not supposed to be. So let me you go do you, and I'm going to do me, because this is the best thing for both of us. And I feel like even, like, I think with this record too, I mean, I feel like the songs that we've written have kind of been that vibe too, of like, there's songs that, the business side, and, people are like, oh, for radio, this would be great, and that, whatever. And you kind of have to go, no, we have to kind of be true to ourselves. And so I think in a way it was a bit of a play on that too, of us kind of realizing, like, we might not ever be the big, number one hit radio song in the world, but we're going to be us. And I think we'll be happy being us,
Hey, Georgia Capone, of course, I looked it up. It was called the Summer White House of Bill Clinton because he stayed actually in a Steven Spielberg mansion, which was there. Yeah. And the wild story is that the Secret Service actually drained the pond to look for submarines when Bill Clinton left.
I didn't know that.
Oh, really?
That's amazing.
Yeah, I just learned yesterday that he was.
That was the Summer White House.
That was the Summer White House. I had no idea. Yeah. That's great. To us,
he's in town right now. Bill Clinton is in Amsterdam right now.
Oh, really? Yeah. Oh, wow.
We should find out what he's doing later.
Exactly.
Ask him about the submarines.
I need to Google that. That sounds like. Actually, we're because of the record, we've met the woman that's in charge of kind of making sure that the pond stays healthy, and that they don't do anything to ruin the pond. And she actually wrote a book about the pond and sent it to us. So she would be a good person to ask if these rumors are true.
About the submarine.
About the submarine.
She'll know.
Well, maybe it's just fake news. I mean, you never know these days.
I don't think Bill Clinton was ever known for the fake news situation.
No.
You guys are religious people, right? I mean, you met in church, which is special.
We're spiritual people as opposed to religious people, because in the U.S. it comes with a lot of with a lot of connotation
exactly. that we don't agree with.
We don't agree with. Yeah.
So
we're spiritual people.
Yeah, we like to change the terms up.
Well, which is a beautiful thing, and I think also it reflects in your music, not only lyric-wise, but also music-wise. A lot of church music choirs,
Yeah, we both grew up in church, and his mom was a choir director, his dad was a pastor, and so that's a big reason why he started playing music. Was they needed a violinist at the church, to play music at the church, and so they had him learn violin.
The church sponsored my violin lessons and sponsored my violin that I have to this day. The church paid for it.
Wow, Is it on the record actually? Because there are some nice string arrangements on there.
No, he didn't do. I tried.
There are some
tried
nice
to
string
get.
arrangements though.
There's
but I didn't
your string
play.
arrangements, but you didn't play. Yeah.
I didn't play them.
Who did the arrangements? Because I mean, they are from "Summertime Romance," which is a great song, strings at the end, and I was actually surprised because to me it's like the song's finished and then this beautiful string arrangement starts.
I love it so much.
Anton?
Anton Patzner in San Francisco.
Yeah.
He and his brother, it's just the two of them, played all the instruments, wrote and arranged the music, and he'll be making many appearances on our records to come.
Yeah.
So, but why choose to do that? I mean, as I said, to me, like the song was finished, and then
I think I think for us, the musicality of the record is super important to us, and I think it's an experience. We want it to feel like an experience, and for us, it's like you have these like happy moments in life, and there's two parts to happy moments in life. There's the moment where you're in it and you're like, this is so much fun, like this is amazing, this is a great, like we'll never forget this. And there's that moment right after the happy moment where you take that deep breath and you're like, wow, life is good, And that, I feel like those string arrangements is that moment after a great memory is made where you're like, like I'm gonna remember that on my deathbed, or yeah. So I think that's the sigh of gratitude at the end of a happy song.
Well said.
Hey, another thing that struck me, the Vince Gill song. I love that one. Lonely Night in Georgia. How did it come together? Which I don't think it's a natural combination, you guys.
No, so when I was growing up, I was living in outside of New York, and I heard this voice on the radio, and I was probably like 8 years old, and I just loved it. I was like, oh my gosh, Dad, who is singing right now? And he's like, oh, well, this is a country artist. His name's Vince Gill. And I was like, I want to go buy whatever song this is. So I got my money out of my little, like savings, which was like $10. And I went to I had my dad take me to the record store, and I bought the single cassette. And I didn't even have like a cassette player in my room. I was like, anytime I listened to music, it was in the car or in the living room with my family. I didn't have my own boombox or anything, and so I did have a doll called a Teddy Ruxpin, which is a teddy bear.
Are you familiar with the Teddy Ruxpin?
Yeah, and then it has a little cassette player on the inside, so I would listen to Vince Gill on my Teddy Ruxpin, and I just loved it. I would go to bed listening to him every night. So we moved to Nashville. Years go by, and we're playing. Nashville has a lot of these like writers round kind of type shows where different people get up and sing songs, and he was playing a song at one of these that we were playing, and so we got to meet him, and he was so kind, and we got along, and then we started seeing him at different festivals.
And there was mutual admiration, for sure, where he would remember all the guys in the band's name, and he'd be like, oh, I love this song, and he started listening to our music, which was really blew our mind, and so we
like got up the nerve to ask him if he'd write a song with us for this record, and he was so kind and was like, absolutely, come on over, I've got some ideas. And so we went over. I don't know that I said more than 2 words the whole time because I was just
Joaquin
so
was
happy.
a baby, was tiny, and so he was just laying on the floor.
No, I think I had him in a little wrap. I had Joaquin all wrapped up, and we sat in his studio that's amazing, has like 5 billion guitars just everywhere. And,
oh yeah, it's a dream studio.
And he was so sweet, it's like in his house he was like, go inside, go in my bedroom and feed the baby, like make yourself at home. And I was like, my childhood self is just so happy right now.
And he took out an old Fender and he just started playing, and we started making up words and just writing together. And one of us said, this song feels like just like an old classic. It needs to have an old classic name too, like Lonely Night in Georgia. And then we went with it. Another lonely night in Georgia.
I reckon a great combination too. Hey, the final track I found, which was on Spotify, was a cover for Wicked Game, which is an amazing song, of course, timeless. I was surprised by the electronic drum beat, actually. I mean, I think it's very original. I think the song gives it a great feel. Yeah. It's still very atmospheric. Why this beat?
So our mix engineer, I produced the album, every song but one. And Wicked Game was the one I didn't produce. The guy that mixed our records, name's Jeremy Griffith in Florida, in the United States. We were working on some music together in his studio for the album, and he brought up the idea of Chris Isaak, Wicked Game, because we knew we wanted to put a cover song. And I was like, that's such a good song, it'd be so hard to do. I don't know that I could do it justice. It would need to be something a little, maybe less organic to make it feel like its own thing or whatever. He's like, well, man, if you ever want to do it, give me a chance at producing it and we'll make it happen. So as we were far along in the process, I think we might even be done.
I think we were done, and we kept singing it around the house, and we were like, man, maybe we should just do it. So we called him up and said, hey, can you produce it for us? And we went upstairs and recorded the vocals and did our part of it, and just got to collaborate a little bit on that one. So, which is really fun, It's like, especially towards the end of a recording process, it was nice to kind of like have a different vibe and to kind of get out outside of, for him, the production aspect is so overwhelming and he gets so, locked in. Yeah. That it was kind of fun for us both to kind of just be outside of it and just get to sing it.
You guys did make a trip to India even before your kid was born to do like a project. Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Yeah, so we went to India. We actually went to Indonesia as well. And in India, we went to work with orphans there. There's a program called Visiting Orphans, and literally that's what they do. They just kind of send people to orphanages around the world that don't have a lot of manpower just to play with the kids. That's basically all they do.
In India in particular, there's so many orphans that they literally don't have enough hands to hold them. So this organization is just a compassion organization to go and spend time with children that are growing up, that are aging out of orphanages. So from literally the day they're born being dropped on a doorstep of an orphanage, or a lot of them left in a dumpster, left on a street, and people find them and bring them to this orphanage. They'll live in that place until they're 18, and many of them, as much as the orphanage is compassionate and full, they just don't have the manpower, the literal hands, to come and rock the babies, to hold them as they sleep, to give. And so it was a touching time for us, and we wrote a song called Hallelujah, where all proceeds of that song, anytime it's streamed, we've made them their own account. It's not handled by any record label, by any publishing. All the money for that song goes directly to visiting orphans, because that's something, especially now, and that was before we had a kid. Now it's so much more profound to imagine children growing up their whole lives and missing that aspect of compassion.
It must have been a heavy period as well. I mean, to go there and experience all that. I mean, was it for you guys the first time you left the States, actually?
No, we've been going on trips like that since we met, since before we met. His parents were sending him on like medical translating trips when he was like 12 to little villages all over. So we also went to Indonesia with an organization called Food for the Hungry, and we loved them because they like make a 10-year plan basically. So they don't just go, okay, we're going to bring relief and we're going to bring food and clothes and then leave, and the people don't really know even how to use the computers, and they're never able to really get back on their feet. So instead they kind of invest in that soft capital of local teachers and like training them up and training them how to start their own businesses, so it's something that is sustainable for them. And we love that. So we went to a lot of the areas where the tsunami hit years ago just to see what they're doing. But that's always the crazy thing about these trips, like whether it was Indonesia or India, the joy that we found was way bigger than any sort of sadness or hopelessness. It was always so positive, and it was always so hopeful that I think that's why we keep going on the trips, because it's kind of amazing and puts our lives in perspective of the stuff that we complain about when there's somebody that's like, hey, my whole house was demolished by a tsunami.
My husband and child were taken.
Yeah, I lost everything, but with a little help, I was able to start this business or like start this farm, or now I sell fish and I know how to I handle money, and so it's amazing. I mean, tears, like just constant tears of joy, not sadness. So
we try to go once a year on some kind of non-governmental help relief trip or something, and it's been a perspective. It's something that stays in perspective for us, even when we make music, even when we perform. We want, and especially now having a son, we want the breaths that we take to mean more than just the songs we sing. We want the world really to have been impacted by our presence in a positive way. And we know the best way that can happen is, of course, serving needy people, serving people that every day, some kind of daily interaction can help someone. All of us in the U.S., here in Western Europe, we have so much access to so many things with technology, money, everything, that there's just simple ways we can plug in and help folks. And we want to make sure that Johnnyswim isn't just, we want hit song one day. We want that thing, but we want to make sure we mattered.
You sure did for now. Hey, we have to quit. Last two questions. Actually, I saw you wearing a nice T-shirt with the Jaws print on it, and I love that one. Who did that?
Yes, I think it was our Christmas sweatshirt.
I love it.
Yeah, thank you. No, I don't think it is. Yeah.
Next Christmas, though. We'll do it again next Christmas.
We'll do it again next Christmas, because we kind of just, as not a fluke, but we just were kind of like, oh, this would be fun to do. And
killer.
Yeah.
But there's a lot
to have it on a T-shirt as well in summer.
That's a great idea.
Absolutely.
Oh,
that's a great idea. We should do it. There's a line in Jaws that is the origination of the band, which we didn't even know happened. It's this crazy moment. The guy's on a dock. Jaws eats the dock. Guy falls in the water. His buddy's still up on the other half of the dock. The guy in the water's name is Johnny, and the scariest thing on earth, Jaws, is coming to eat him. And his friend is screaming to him, "Swim, Johnny, swim!" So we met at a friend's house watching Jaws, and we were screaming at the screen. It was the first time either of us had seen Jaws. I know it was my first time. Was it yours as well?
I mean, yeah.
How old were you guys?
Oh, like 23.
Yeah, exactly.